Hi, and welcome to your user manual. I'll be giving you an in-depth guide of how to properly use your web page and hopefully help you solve any problems. Before we start, we have to acknowledge various things. First of all is that you will find this video in two formats, this being Spanish and English. Both of these videos are in the playlist called User Manual, which you can find in our channel. You can also click the link in the description box or see the annotation on the top right of your screen. Likewise, you will find timestamps in the description that will take you directly to the moment when we are talking about a specific topic. Now, all this being said, we can start with the guide. We will be starting with the patient's interfaces. In order to do this, we have to locate ourselves in the homepage of our web app. Here, we will find general information about what is gynecology and why it's important to see a gynecologist. In first instance, we have these three buttons, which when being pressed will update the information according to their corresponding topics. Starting left to right, we can click this button and we will be given information about what is gynecology. The center button will provide information about breast cancer, and finally, the third button talks about personal hygiene. If we keep scrolling down, we will come across the footer, where we will find very useful information. We will be provided with the personal phone number of the doctor Lourdes Yasmin Gutierrez Martinez, followed by the address where her consulting room is located, and next to it we will find her office hours. We will now proceed to the contact page. If we scroll down, we will see a text box divided in three sections, starting with the personal phone number of the doctor, followed by the address of the hospital where her consulting room is located, and finally her email address. If we keep scrolling on down, we will see a map. This map shows the location of said hospital. In the upper left corner, we have two options. The first option will open a new tab and will give us directions of how to get to the hospital. Meanwhile, the second option will allow us to save the address if needed. Let's proceed with the patient's interface. Here the patient will be able to log into her account in order to see general information and the date of the next scheduled visit. In order to access, the patient needs to have an email address and a password. It's important to mention that the patient will be allowed to access her account if it's not authorized beforehand. If they have problems logging in, they should contact their doctor in order to resolve this matter. If your account has been authorized, you can log in by filling the empty spaces with your email and password, finishing this process by clicking the pink button below. If we log in correctly, it will take us to a new web page, which will provide us with patient's general information such as full name, address, birth date, and personal phone number. And below it, we can find the dates of the last visit and the date of the next scheduled appointment. This concludes our guide through the patient's interfaces. If you happen to come across any problems, you can send us an email to dio.software2019@gmail.com and we will try to assist you as soon as possible. Now we will explain how to use the web app from a doctor's perspective. First of all, they have to complete some requirements in order for them to access this web page. Number 1, they must be registered in the web app by an administrator. Number 2, doctors must have their accounts authorized beforehand in order to access the web app. During the video, we will show you how to carry out both of these actions, avoiding as much problems as possible regarding users' administration. First of all, we will come across paths with this page. This functions as a simple login. For time purposes, we will enter with the admin's account. Once we are in, we will see this interface. Here, we will carry out management over users. It's important to consider that only users with admin level privileges are able to create and modify others. If we click the button on the upper left corner, a text box will appear, and we will have to fill it up with the information required, as well as assigning the user's privileges. This is an example of how to do so. In this occasion, we are creating an account for a doctor, so we will assign admin privileges. We click on the blue button and we can see that our user was created without any problems whatsoever. If we analyze the interface, we can see that the information inserted into the past text box will be shown in a table format, starting by the name, followed by the user, which will be the one that was assigned to the doctor. It's important to note that you are only allowed to use letters and numbers in this part. Adding other characters such as interrogation signs or exclamation points will cause a failure when trying to create the user. Next up, we have a dedicated space for a small photo. The photo mustn't weigh more than 2 megabytes in order to be processed correctly. We also have the user's privileges, and next to it, the user status. The default value is deactivated, and unless we activate it manually by clicking on it, the user won't be able to access the web app. We can also see the date and time of the last time the user logged in. And lastly, but not least, we have the actions. In this part, we can modify the user by clicking on the orange square with a little pencil on it. A text box will appear displaying the information of the account selected. We can modify any information as needed right here. Once we finish modifying, we click on the blue button on the bottom right to save changes. Next to this, we have the option of deleting the user completely. Clicking on it will result in a warning to pop up. It will ask us for confirmation about deleting the account and give us the opportunity of canceling this action. Deleting an account causes all the information linked to it to be deleted completely, and it will be impossible to recover it. If we decide to delete or modify a user, another text box will appear, giving confirmation of said action. This function will repeat itself every time we do this sort of actions. The Patients section will allow us to register new patients in a similar manner as we did with the doctors. Clicking in the button located on the upper left corner will cause another text box to appear, which we will have to fill up with the required information. This will serve as a general information sheet for the patient. Once we are finished, we click the button on the bottom right corner to finish this process. We can see the patients that are registered, and just like the users, we can modify or delete the patient if we see it necessary. An additional feature is that we can search for a patient with the search bar located on the top right corner. For example, if you want to look for the patient Carla, we just type it in and it will show us all the information related to her. Lastly, we have the query section. This is probably the most important part of all the web app, so we will explain as detailed as possible the appropriate manner to add and save a query. Once again, we place our cursor in the upper left corner and click on it, causing a text box to appear. Starting top to bottom, we can see the name of the user attempting to add a query. This changes depending on the user using the web app. Next, we have the option to choose the patient. We have to click on the patient that we want to add the query to. This patient must be registered beforehand in order to appear on this list. Once this is done, we must fill in all the information required. It's really important to complete the form with the correct information. If not done so, the information won't be saved and we'll have to fill in all the form once again. On your screen will be displayed the boxes that only accept certain type of information. Please use this as a guide while filling up the form. Now that we are finished, we can see the new query we created. This concludes the user manual for both web apps. We highly recommend taking a look at the links we added in the description box, where we'll give you access to the scripts used for this video as well as documents that provide additional aid. Don't forget that you can contact us by sending a message to our email account, dio.software2019@gmail.com, and we will help you resolve any issue you come across. We hope you found this video useful. Thank you for your preference and have a wonderful day.